Hey everybody, James here with Fish Room Fever. So I was doing water changes and I decided I was going to redo the plants in this tank. Normally I wouldn't mess with it, but I've noticed some issues with the plants, a lot of holes developing, nutrient deficiency I'm assuming, and also some lighting issues because everything is kind of grown over itself. And I figured, I got partway into it and I was like, hey, I might as well make a video. So I'll get you caught up real quick. I used to have a really gorgeous Amazon sword, and this was the main plant that's been suffering lately. So what I actually did, forgive me, I'm going back and forth up a step stool here because this tank is a little higher up. I pulled all of that off. As you can see, all the holes and everything. We're going to throw that out, but there is the root ball that we have left. You can see a couple of leaves coming out of it still that are in good shape. So I'm not worried about that. It'll regrow really nicely. And as big as that root structure is, there shouldn't be any problem with it getting back to the way it used to be. So once I pulled that out, pulled these out and propagated them, or separated them. So the way I did that was they were all attached by these larger pieces of root, and they were like that. I just kind of pinched them off. You could cut them if you've got some scissors. And I ended up with this larger one, the one I just showed you, that one there, and another one that has gone back in the tank, that one. Then I pulled this guy out, propagated it again. I just went in there, found that one larger root that was holding them together, pinched it off with my thumbnail, and then usually what I'll do is I'll stick the root ball back underwater and kind of wiggle it under the water and pull slightly, and that helps to get them untangled without breaking off a lot of the root structure. Pulled out a couple other floating plants, pulled out the guppy grass. There is some duckweed in here that I'm going to get out. Hopefully, what I'll do is when I fill this tank back up, I will wait till the water gets above the plants and I'll just take a net across probably. The other option I have is that this tank is drilled, so I could just run the overflow, but I do have baby guppies in here, so I'd rather not suck them down the drain. So what I'm looking at doing is taking all of this, I guess, valve, and I want to plant it on the far end. This is a 40 breeder. I want to take and run it along this end, and then I want to take, goodness, I've just forgotten what they are. Oh, the name eludes me. But I want to take these, and I want to plant those over on this side here. So basically what I'm going to do is just start pulling out the valve, and it is kind of all run together all the way across the tank, but it's just got that runner root there. You can either pinch that off, or just like this one popped off on its own when I was trying to pull it out. Just going to pull them out, lay them down. Let me see if I can get this moved up a little bit. There we go. We're going to get them put over here. Got some other things I'm just going to move out for the time being. There we go. I don't really have overhead lighting that's the best right here. I could probably fix that though. Take that out. See if we can fix the light over here. There we go, a little bit better. And then, like this guy here, I'm going to pull him out. Some more guppy grass and some other things. Right now I'm just kind of running my hand through and getting anything that's loose, like more guppy grass. I'm just tossing it in the 125-gallon Piranha tank behind me. Get it out of the way. I don't mind if the duckweed goes in there. I actually like the duckweed in the Piranha tank. It helps to diffuse the light. It makes them even more comfortable. And the reason I'm not using a net to do this is once again because of the guppy fry. For those of you wondering, it's no particular strain, it's just a mutt guppy tank. Lots of different things thrown in together to see what we come up with. I do also have a green phantom pleco in here, a blue phantom pleco in here, and since he's like right here in my hand, let's see if we can show him to you. Nice. Oh, he's not happy. Bristle nose. There we go. So I'm just going to go through here and uproot this grass. Get it all out of this side of the tank. Alright, so here's one. So there's the runner root right there. That's where they spread out. So you can pretty much pinch it off anywhere. You could actually pinch both ends off and just get rid of it. You could pinch it off at one end and leave the other. I'm probably just going to pinch both ends off because I've got a lot of it I'm going to have to plant. So I'm going to minimize the amount of root system I have to deal with. And I'll just grow more runners anyways. But for the stocking, to finish that, I've got that bristle nose you saw, a smaller female, and I think an albino in here. And the rest of it's mutt guppies and some bamboo shrimp. Basically all of this grass is connected together for the most part. Started off with just a couple of sprigs and got to this point. So I'm going to put it where it's all on one side, nice and dense. It should give a good place for the guppy fry to hide out. Plecos will probably hang out in there too. And then do the crypts over on the side closer here. Be a little bit more open. Hopefully we'll still have, you know, guppies hanging out in there and things to look at. And then I'll probably use that right there. Get some rhizome plants. And that one right there. Kind of in the middle is a separator, and then I'll just look at it. And when the grass starts getting over to this side and going through the rhizome area, I'll start pulling it out and propagating it and moving it to other tanks. We're just gonna keep on pulling this out. At this point, basically, I'm just trying to get all of it together still. It makes it kind of easier to work with when you can just keep following the runners along. I'll get you a good shot of all of it once we get it pulled out of the tank. And then I also have this guy right here. Let me set these out real quick. This guy right here, which I actually broke into two earlier, which is fine. But I had this guy just floating to start with the root system, and the stem had gotten so heavy that it doesn't really float anymore. But great root system. I may put that back in the middle, or I may move it to another tank. I have not quite decided just yet. Also a good opportunity while you're doing this to be able to get any dead or broken off leaves and toss them. There's the other half or part of that plant, and again, nice long roots. Wasn't planted, was just in there. I am also going to film the Project Piano Part 3 today. I'm going to do the water change on that tank. I'll be introducing the rest of the stock, and we'll go over that in that video. But I probably won't post it today since I'll have this video coming out. I'll probably post it maybe Monday. That sounds good. spike okay there. Also known as a watering spike. That larger ancestris or bushy nose that I showed you, he really likes that watering spike, as do all of my ancestris. The snowballs like them too. I've not gotten any breeding out of the snowballs yet, but we're waiting on it. I've also added another type of cave in there, so maybe that will help. Okay, so let's see if I can get you a good shot of that. This guy right here. So what I'm going to do is just come right in here, and you could use scissors. I've got decent fingernails, so I'm just going to snip it right there, and it's just that simple to propagate it. While I'm doing this, I'm multitasking. I've got the 125 gallon Caribe Piranha tank behind me draining via the Python. I think this is the first time, yeah, well, this will be the first time I've actually redone this tank. I've propagated from it previously. A lot of the plants that are in the live stream planted dirted tank that I did with fodder fish came out of here. So let me get this with the other arm if I can. Basically, and sorry the way I've got the camera mounted, I can't really move it. But basically this got a really large root system to it, so I'm just very gently kind of giving a little tug and a little wiggle, moving the gravel around a little bit so that I can get it out of here. And I will show you that root system in just a second when it comes up. There we go. So there's our root system, and we can actually propagate this one. It's got, basically, if you get up in there, you can see where it'll come apart. So like right here, there's one main root that's holding it on. If I could just pinch it right there. So I'm gonna then get the leaves separated from the rest of the leaf structure. So we've got this one plant here. I've pinched off the main root, and I'm just gonna put it down in the water and kind of wiggle and pull a little bit, and that will free the roots up on it. I really do find that it being underwater helps. Yeah, it gets some more detritus back in the tank, but there you go. And again, sorry for the light. I'm away from the overhead, and I'm having to squat to keep my head off the ceiling is actually the height that I'm working at the moment. So I will propagate this. I'll propagate it though when we get ready to plant it, just for the sake of time and not having to lay out all those individual plants. This guy mostly died off. Some type of sort, I'm assuming. So I'm just going to pick off all of this dead stuff. And again, I'm just pinching it off. You could use scissors, but fingernails also work fine. And then we'll replant that because it does have a nice root system on it. So I don't know if I'll put it in this tank or not, but it never hurts to have extra plants for other tanks. Guppy grass everywhere. I initially added it in for the guppy fry to hide in, but I don't think we're going to continue to keep it in here. Let's see where we're at. Okay. Sorry, I wanted to make sure that my camera had not cut off because I'm filming on 4K, so it's going to stop at 10 minutes. Again, this one's got really good root structure, so I'm just gently working the leaves out, or excuse me, the roots out of the gravel. Little tug, little wiggle, insert the funny comments down below, I'm sure. And up it comes. And that's another one that we can go ahead and split that has sent out a runner root. Runner root right there. So when the time comes to plant that, just pinch that off and we'll have two. Lots and lots of stray guppy grass in here. Alright. So I'm just going to leave that grass over there planted, since I'm going to do the grass on this side anyway. Get down and look at it from the side, make sure I haven't missed anything. Got one more hiding back there. There we go. Another crypt, I believe. I'm sure you'll correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong. Lay that out. This guppy grass here. I may possibly be able to show you the phantoms. Nope, don't think that's going to happen. I'll get one more try here, and if he jumps, he jumps. Don't want to stress me too much. Yeah, nope, we're going to leave him be. Don't want to put too much stress on him. Grab some more of these loose plants out. Adjust my siphon on the tank behind me that's draining. There we go, it's all set. Alright. Alrighty. Move these shells here. This is guppy grass. And we will get to planting. Alright. Toss this. So here's what we've got for the grass. Lots and lots of that. I may just go ahead and get that done first since it's on the far side. Toss it right over there. This piece of glass I was using as a tabletop, essentially. Alright, so I'm going to get to planting this grass. In terms of propagation, or at least on this, what I'm going to do is take and just pinch that runner off. Pull the roots out of the way, give it a pinch. And do the same thing on the other side. Just get rid of that. So now we've got two individual ones. And this little bitty one doesn't have much of a root structure, but I'll show you what to do with the roots on another piece. But I'm just going to take that in the Aquascape tweezers, or whatever kind of tweezers. I think these might have actually been like a feeding tweezer, a plant. Not a plant, but a reptile feeding tweezer or something like that. Just take and make a nice little root ball. Put your tweezers in there. Pinch that leaf off. And just push it down in the gravel. Usually give it a little wiggle. and then just lightly release and go. And pinch that off. And the way that I'm doing this, not necessarily aquascaping if you will, but my thought process is I'm going to take the shorter ones to the outside toward the glass on the three sides and put the longer ones in the middle. Of course the short ones will grow up relatively quickly, but at least for now we'll have a little bit more line of sight into the tank. There's a nice bunch that's all hooked together. Pinch that. I'm just going to get these pinched real quick, and then I'm going to lay them off to the side on the overflow. That way I can just kind of plant versus stopping every single time to pinch off and then plant. Now you could replant these with the runner on there. I just don't particularly care for going through and reburying the runner, and I don't really want to leave it up and exposed. You could, but I'd rather not have to look at it. It's not necessary at this point, so we're just kind of getting it out of the way. Of course, these will all develop more runners and more little plants. Alright, that gives us a couple to work with. Actually, I think we're probably going to have about 50 individual ones of these, looking at what we've got and what we've already planted. What I will probably do is just film this part right here and time lapse it. That way you're not having to sit and listen to me talk while I do the same repetitive thing over and over again. Again, I'm just kind of taking and giving a little twist to the roots. Get them in a nice little ball there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Some tweezers on it. And bury it in the gravel or substrate, whatever substrate you've got. So like that one actually just split off again into four more actually, so that ended up being 4 more pieces. If it's got a little, really small root system, I don't even worry about racking the roots. Just go ahead and push it down in there and be done with it. Apologies if you can hear the tweezers scraping the glass from time to time. It's also a good time if you see any leaves that are not in the best shape. Just go ahead and cut or pinch those off. Now, ideally, I could be filling this tank back up while I'm doing this, but I've only got the one pipe on, and it's currently draining the tank behind me. And then I actually need to start filling in a different tank. Well, the tank that's behind me and on my live stream, so I drained it first, So as soon as the piranha tank behind me is done, I'm going to start filling the double stack tank that's behind me in my live streams, and then I'll fill this one, and then I'll fill the piranha tank. And that's typically how I'll do my water changes, unless I'm just doing one tank. If I'm doing the whole room, I'll go ahead and drain all my tanks, or at least, like I say, my rack of 1610s, I'll drain all of those and then fill all of those. That room I usually don't drain all the tanks just because there are so many individual and smaller tanks. I could in theory probably, but I just prefer if I've got a rack system with a lot of tanks, that I just go ahead and do that rack system, kind of treat it as its own room, if you will. So the tank that we're working on, again, it's a 40 breeder. It is in the same water system as another 40 breeder that is on the stand below it. And then below that I've got, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 gallon sump made out of a plastic tote. The tank below it is the Snowball Pleco and mixed Tetra tank that I've shown you all previously. And the reason that I put the bristle nose up top here was I was hoping, in theory, potentially, that the spawning hormones from the bristle nose might possibly affect the snowballs. I don't know. I figured it was worth a shot. I don't know that it for sure wouldn't work, so why not give it a try? Again, just pinching off that runner there. But this stuff, when I first planted it, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 plants, if even that much. And then it grows quick. I'm sure this is part of what was sucking up nutrients. Probably that one that I showed you with the really long roots that was floating. I know it was getting a lot of nutrients. And then of course guppy grass works like a sponge. The duckweed, but I try and keep the duckweed out of this tank. Haven't quite gotten it all gone, but you all know how that goes. If you're fighting it, it's a pain. I love it for the tanks that I want it in, but I hate it when it gets in the tanks that I didn't want it to be in. There we go. I am real quick just going to dip these crypts to keep them wet. Normally I'd have like a tote or a tub or just something with some water for them to kind of hang out in, but again, given that I'm up in the air, there's not really a work surface, if you will, so I'm just using one of the panes of glass, one of the tops, to sit this stuff on. Alright, so I've got all of the grass planted now, so I'm going to take the rhizome plants and put them in the middle, kind of like a divider, if you will. When I start seeing the grass coming through over here, then I'll pull those pieces and move them to other tanks. Got this little guy here, which I'm going to pinch off. That leaf doesn't look so great. Some of them are tougher than others. There we go. I'm going to put him down in there. And then what I'm going to do, I had a pile of lava rock over in the far corner here. I'm actually going to move it. I'm going to take this Pleco cave, stick it over here. But I want to take the lava rock off of this left side here and just kind of spread it around this center section, if you will. And I'm going to come back over here and plant the crypts and some sort of sword, I believe. Bamboo shrimp that was hiding over in the lava rock is not too happy, but he'll be okay. And this is going to stir up a bunch of detritus, but that'll be alright. It'll clear up in no time. I will get a nice full tank shot from the viewing side, if you will, once we get done. So my goal is to get this posted as soon as I get done with this tank, which means it should come out, hopefully if it renders and uploads in time, should come out before the live stream tonight, February 15th, 2020, in case you're watching this in a different year down the road. But I'm going to be live streaming with Priscilla MK Art as my guest. My co-host Chattanooga Ed will be there as far as I know. And we are going to be giving away 3 Amazon gift codes and 2 pieces of Fisher & Fever merchandise. So if you're watching this and it's before 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, February the 15th, 2020, come check that stream out tonight and maybe you'll get lucky and win. Alright, so I've got that lava rock moved over. I think I'm going to go ahead and lay these plants back out. I set them down in the water because I did also fill this system back up while I had the camera off in between shots. So I'm going to kind of lay everything out so we can see what we've got and work from there. Give me just a second to do that. At least laid out enough that I can see what I'm working with. So I am going to put these guys closer toward the rock work in the middle of the tank, if you will. Really nice root structure on this one. Actually going to kind of dig a little hole for this one. Kind of cover it over. Alright. This one here, Good root system on it as well. Not nearly as big, but nice long root system. Yeah, and more funny comments down below, I'm sure. One thing, it does make it easier to do this when the water is lower, but it's not a problem to do it with the tank full. And we're going to take this one. If my gravel were deeper, I wouldn't have to fiddle with getting the big root balls in there and covered, but my substrate is not that deep in this one. One day I'll probably cap it with sand, but today is not that day. There's a little teeny piece of grass that I missed, we'll just pop it in there. Alright. We got this guy here. Really nice root system, nice leaves on it. Some random little pieces of debris attached to it. We'll go ahead and pull those out. So you can see super long root system on this thing. I think I'm going to go toward the corner of the tank for this one. So what I'm going to do with these roots being so long is I just kind of give it a little twist, and then I'm going to wrap it just like that. Nice big root ball there. I'm not even going to do the tongs on this one. There we go. Got this little guy here. Let's see if I can get the leaves to kind of spread out a little bit. There we go. Kind of. Actually, that's two of them. Or can be two of them. There we go. It's two of them now. Again, taking the opportunity to pluck off any bad leaves while we're doing this. That is actually two. I'm probably going to plant these together though, just for space sake. And you can do that, so I'm just going to wrap the roots up just as though they were one. We still have a lot of plants to go. Not a whole ton of root space. There we go. And the root system. Got a nice little ball there. Take our tongs. And I'll probably look for some cheap tongs on Amazon and leave a link down below, just because it does make life a lot easier, especially when you're planting a lot of plants, like that 50 or so pieces of grass that was planted on the far end. Alright, so silly me, made an amateur mistake, didn't realize my camera had turned off. That one larger plant that I had earlier, I mentioned breaking up, I left it whole, and I'll show you that in the video when we do the walk around and look at the tank. The reason I did that is, one, for space purposes in here, I'm kind of running out of room, and two is when I'm getting other tanks set up and want to plant them, I know that I've got a few things in here that I can come back to that are already ready for propagation. So I'm going to plant this guy here. Looks like I've got room for these last two. I think that's a crypt, if I'm not mistaken. Some sort of Amazon sword. I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comments down below. So thank you for that. Kind of getting to the point where I have to wave the plants out of the way that are already planted to get to where I want to go with the new ones. And again, the tank being full makes it a little bit trickier as the water moves around on top. But I can still see fairly well what I'm doing like this. Looks like we've got some grass that I either missed it or just came unrooted. It may have been from the back where the return pump is at, or not necessarily the pump, but where the return flow is at. It's fairly strong, so it may have just knocked it loose. Find this little guy a home. I think I see a good one. Alright, got a couple spare pieces, if you will, of grass. Just gonna get them planted. Oh, we just pulled the leaves off of that one. That happens. Nevertheless, it's got a root system, and it will grow rather quickly. Alright, so I'm going to kill the camera. I'm going to go through here, get all these random floating plant pieces out, get the duckweed out, get it cleaned up, let it run for a little bit. I've actually got it turned off right now just because it was getting a little bit of flushing. It usually does that on this system when I do my water changes. It usually takes it a little bit for it to level itself out. But I will be right back with you, and we will take a look at, got one more I'm going to stick in here. I was going to stick it in another tank, but I'll just go ahead and toss it down in here. You probably heard the cat right there. She's wanting attention. She's mad I'm playing with the fish too much. So we'll go ahead and stick this in here. There we go. And I will be right back with you all. Alright, so here's the end result. We ended up with the, I'm just going to say some type of sword over here. Back there's that larger one that I did not propagate, that I left to propagate another time when I'm doing another planet tank. And then what I believe are crypts. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I do need to move that pleco cave back. The water's not as clear as I wanted it to be, but I wanted to go ahead and get this out. What I'll end up doing is taking a gravel vac and just running it through a filter sock and just getting the detritus out that way. But I wanted to get this video shot. As you can see, lots of purling. We'll go around this way, give you a shot of the guppies. And some of you may wonder, because this is the end that I actually see the most sitting at my desk and doing my streams and whatnot, why I chose to kind of block it off with the grass instead of putting it at the opposite end. I actually did that specifically because of the plecos, because I knew that they would come over in the grass. So I'll get to see the blue and green phantom, which you can kind of see. The one up front's bristlenose, but if you look back to the left a little bit, well, the green phantom is right behind that female bristlenose there. The blue phantom is right back in there, next to the albino female bristlenose. See if I can get you a shot. So that's why I put the grass over here. That way the plecos would come out more, so to speak. So here's a shot of the back side of the tank. Again, same stuff, just reversed. Everything pearly and happy. There's that one that will end up being propagated when I set up another planted tank. Lots and lots of purling. Lots and lots of guppies. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. I'm going to try and cut it down as short as I can, but it looks like it's going to be a rather long one. And that's okay, a lot of you have asked for that. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me if you enjoyed this type of video or if you want to see something different. I appreciate you all watching. If you've made it this far and you haven't already, do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Until then, keep your fish healthy and catch yourself a little fish room fever. Bye everybody.